It feels so amazing. I've learned so much. But yesterday's session, I went to bed with a extremely white heart. I woke up happy and I'm so empowered to see more days coming because I can feel the change. The transformation is here. It's no longer far away. It's just here, and I'm ready to balance and focus and keep on going and going. Thank you so much, Mr. Tau. You are so amazing. You are God sent into our lives. You are a true destiny helper. Thank you.
Thank you. When you say those things, I'm just like, such kind words. Wow. Thank you so much. But, for me, what gives me the greatest joy is having you also experience a full physical manifestation, all right, of all that you want to achieve, even beyond this period. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I can tell you without a doubt. And is there anybody that was here yesterday again that can just tell us what they experienced yesterday? Okay. Ruru, do you want to say anything? I know you were there yesterday. Do you want to say anything about your experience yesterday? But it's okay if you can't say, if you can't talk. Just let's. Okay. So, well, anyway, like I said, I'll share the replay. Good morning, Madam Olukade. I'll share the replay, and I hope that you could also just take time out. And when all of this is done, please subscribe onto the YouTube channel. Take time to just, take this in. And, I can tell you, somehow, almost like a dent in the wall, something will give way. Something will give way. Something will give way. Something will definitely give way. All right, so let's just move now. Day 15, amazing. Day 15, who would have thought that would have been this? We started just yesterday, and it was looking like this, like that. But we've kept on. And you see, this is what we talk about. You're watering the plants, you're watering it, and somehow it's just giving, it's sprouting, it's beginning to sprout, and then it's beginning to bud, and then it's beginning to fruit. All right. And then you're getting into that place of harvest. And so, irrespective of whatever you're doing in life, this is the cycle. There must be a planting season. All right. There must be a watering now. As you water, it begins to sprout. You will nurture. All right. And then at that point, it begins to bud. Then you move on to the point of harvest. So balance, we're going to be talking about balance. And Clinton said that don't confuse having a career with having a life. So some of us will think we have a business and we have a life. Some of us will think we have a marriage and we have a life. Some of us will think we have a career and we have a life. And that's totally wrong. Let me use that phrase, totally wrong. And it's important to say this. And that's why when people get into one-on-one coaching sessions with me, one of the things I try to do is to equate balance. So I create a tripod of some sort. So I tell people in setting all our goals and all our objectives, it must be standing on 3 pillars. And I'll tell you why. So any of your income, impact, or influence goals, all right, should be standing on 3 pillars. And the pillars are this. 1, it must have a personal pillar. There must be a personal feel to everything that you're doing. The second thing is profit. There must be a profit, or income feel to whatever you're doing. And the third thing is that there must be a purpose feel to whatever you're doing. Now, when you tie all of these things together, it's like a strong knitted cord. It cannot be easily broken. So today we're going to be talking about balance. Balance, according to according to vocabulary.com, it says having the right amount, not too much or too little of any quality. When we attain it, it leads us to harmony and evenness. You might achieve the balance someone has achieved between working hard and having fun. So what I recall in the beginning of my career, I used to say things like work hard, play hard. Work hard, play hard, just in a bit to get some balance. But the way I worked that and played that then was actually disastrous. Okay. So sometimes I will murder sleep. I will go into a session like this and say, hey guys, you need to mother sleep. Sleep is not beneficial, but now I know better. All right. Then I also have fun, as in, so from a session, and it wasn't sessions as life-changing like this. I'm talking about business sessions, because then I always used to separate the secular from the spiritual. Okay, so I don't mix those. It was like, no, we can't mix it. I didn't understand that all of this all come together. So your spiritual well-being, your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your social well-being, and every other being that is there, they all come together. But then I disintegrated or delineated such that I was not allowing them to mix. Okay. Also, I looked at, I'm like a David, so I had all kinds of vices. Okay. Is that I'm running into the club, and then from the club, I'm leaving the club at 4 a.m. And remember, at the beginning of my when I was in service, when I was running my mandatory service, I was running a nightclub. All right, it just gave me access, but that's another story for another day. But what I'm saying is that, so when we start to talk about balance, some people talk about work-life balance, some people talk about all kinds of balance. The kind of balance I'm talking about is the balance that is centered around your core, centered around your why. Because if you don't know why you're in existence, then you only just abuse yourself. So imagine at that point, even though I thought I understood the essence or the elements of balance, but I was operating it differently. And so there was no way I could get, the visible result. And the only thing that saved me was I was a lot younger, and so maybe my body was able to withstand some of those things. Now, if I tried any of those things right now, not that I'm old, I'm a very, very young, um, bloke, you don't even want to see what I see within me, So I don't know, but I'm almost like the most handsome man that you can ever see in this world. But okay, let's stop that now. Let's just stop that. But it's me speaking, all right. Anyway, so you can imagine if I was younger, and if I was older then, it would have just been disastrous. I'll just be sleeping in and out of, maybe the clinics. So what then can we, so let me share a personal story. And I thought about that in the book also, that as having been raised by a single parent, okay, or is it a single mom? No, however it is. Someone said it's not right to say single. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying? My mom raised me, long and short of it. And the fact is that during that period, I had no reference or mentor or an example of what an ideal family should be. In fact, I felt that any woman that was not operating at the level at which my mom was operating was living a substandard life. But from my side now, I already know that no, my mom was, yes, she was living probably on a bit of purpose and then profit just to keep us all and ensure that everything was going on well. And she did the best of that, because for a long time, I never knew that there was a there was a responsibility for men. My mother provided everything. By the time I was getting to university, she gave me a Browning 505 SR. You can imagine, so those that have two parents, I mean the parents, both parents working or sending their children to school, they couldn't even perform such feats. So I had always had this thing that what was the essence, so if I was having anything to do with any woman and you were not operating at that level, it was almost like, hey, you're probably you just need to be supported. Anyway, fast tracking that impeded on my marriage. So the first 5 years was hell. And I always say that the first 5 years was hell because it was almost like, hey, can you not just rise up to being an entrepreneur? And now, even now that, so somehow we've been able to knit all of this together. My wife is now more enterprising. She's a lawyer. She's now a business person. We still have our conflicts. We still have our, we have different points of view as to issues. But like, even when this issue was brought up yesterday, you saw how Dr. Alabi, and we also went on to say, hey, somehow, somewhere, fools don't doubt fools. There will come to times where people will see what you're doing and might want to contest what you're doing. But by the time you remain ardent, focused and silent, even in your journey, yes, you must be flexible. By the time they start to see results, nobody needs to tell or convince anyone that they need to switch. And that's just one thing. So I don't know why and who I dropped that for, but I can tell you that somehow also you must start to get things right. So eventually we were able to come out to this realization, and we solved a lot of disagreements that we occasionally have. So we brought in some balance, right? Balance also comes from a point of awareness, as Dr. Labi muted yesterday. Awareness, and from awareness, you also know the things that would. Now let me say this, and I needed to work this again. So with awareness, three things are critical. The first thing is that you needed to come to an understanding that there's help available. There's help available, all right? So are you able to seek for help? So is it time for you to seek for help? That's the first thing. You must come, is that when you are coming to that consciousness, it gives you the point to say, okay, should I seek for help? Or as the case may be. The second thing is that, are you able to receive help? So the universe is availing you help, sending you help, but you are saying no, you are rejecting that help. Help is being extended to you. You don't even understand that that's the law of nature, all right? But you can't even recognize it because the environment around you is noisy. I will not be giving examples, but you need to go and watch that replay. Then the third thing is that you could think that you're on the right path, all right? It also takes your point of awareness, all right, to that point where you begin to ask yourself, are you on the right path? And the way to differentiate this is to also know that, look, what is your why? Because it still boils down to the issues of value, so that you don't vacillate. All right, a double-minded man cannot prosper. So if you don't know the plan from now, how then do you want to advance? And that's what prosperity is, as in advancing valiantly, all right, without fear or favor. And then there are consequences for that. There's great reward, there's wealth, there's legacy and all of those things. Okay, so this works now. You must come to the point where the first thing you want to do is acknowledge that there's an imbalance. Okay. The other thing is you want to examine what issues and what are those things that lead to the fact that you experience stress, or those things that cause discomfort, or those things that take you on that journey that kind of troubles you, or a form of disease. So it's not, when we hear the word disease, that means that what momentarily, all right, diseases us, all right, or causes us to experience an unfriendly scenario with ourselves. Now, I know that there's a couple of things that we can't change, and so when those things, I had my late boss then, Niye Lumaro, I call him Master, one of the greatest guys that I've ever met. I acknowledged him in the book. And one day, and that's one of these things and I think I've shared this with, that the calmness of Jesus Christ in the boat, I've seen even those that did not come close to knowing Christ, exude such calmness. So we were about getting late for a flight, and what made that flight very important was that it was a deal that needed to have been closed. And there I was worried and wondering what could happen, how do we move before we lose this, it was getting dark, it was raining. And the next thing, he says, Taiwo, please allow me to focus. I don't worry over things I have no control over. That thing hit me. You don't even want to understand. I'm like, are you serious? I'm worried. I am worried, dead worried, thinking that, wow, am I the, I was even almost, do you know that you get so worried that you're not the cause of the issues, but you now begin to take responsibility for it. Say, oh, what if if I prompted him earlier, maybe. He says, Taiwo, please, I don't worry about things I have no control over. So are you worrying about things you have no control over? Just surrender, all right, rather than struggle. That's where we truly surrender to the elements and say all things, they're working together for my good. All right. So to create balance also, like I said, there must be a goal in mind. There must be a destination. You don't just be living your life on happenstance or, on accidents without a plan. You just be moving up and down. You must have a destination in mind. Always have, the end goal, the end point in mind. Okay, and that's how once you have that plan, then you always once you have the goals, then you set your plan, your action plan. Okay, now it's at that point of the action plan that you become flexible in the implementation, because sometimes based on the new insights you get, the new information, or what Dr. Alabi called spiritual downloads, you would soon realize that there might be a need to alter the plan. I'm getting somewhere, and I'm going to be rounding up shortly. Something just dropped in my mind. There was a guy called Noah now. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but this was a guy that got spiritual downloads on how to build an ark, even when he wasn't an engineer. So is it not possible that at some point, even whilst you do your research and you listen attentively, all right, within and you're aware, practicing silence, affirming, visualizing, all right, and we're introducing something later this week. It's called mindfulness. You would have started to see how you can actually begin to build the future that you envision. So constantly reflect, and reflection comes from gratitude. Remember gratitude. As you start to think of what to be grateful for, what to be appreciative of, that's like you're reflecting. You're beginning to review, all right? And then that's also part of reinvention, because as you constantly review, like what we said, the acronym CLAIM is that there must be clarity now. And I'm sure people have gotten some form of clarity, however it is. There must be learning. There are new things that have been learned, in the course of this, on this bootcamp. All right. There must be alignment. So people are committing, I want to stop there, I want to do this now. There will just be something that you needed to, either you're over dispensing something or under dispensing something. There now must be introduction of new things. We are already saying, or interventions, all right, or insights that have just dropped. And then there must constantly be monitoring and management. And it's what gets measured, that gets done. So we're saying that, have you taken account to reflect? Because this entirety of this acronym, this claiming your extraordinary life, is what truly is the premise for, or what do we call it now? The reinvention journey. You soon realize that claiming an extraordinary life is hinged on these 5 principles. Every time, are you getting clarity? Are you learning new things? Are you aligning? Are you introducing new things? Because there's life, things are changing, things are moving. There's an upward improvement. Every day, there must be an improvement. There must be an improvement. And the improvement is you. It's not in competition, but it's in you understanding that, hey, you are your greatest competitor, as in you are competing against yourself. Then prepare for all you want. All right. So look, guys, living a life of balance means taking the necessary time to renew yourself. Okay. So as we go on, we start to talk about, okay, how do we even, because a lot of people will say, okay, you've put all those things, yes, as a guideline. This was Apple. But what gives you time to balance will be around, occasionally you have to just turn these things off, these gadgets off. You have to just disconnect, maybe one, so like for me now, I always have a retreat every quarter now, a retreat every quarter. And why am I doing this? Is that I just realized that I did the first one at the age of 38, when I had a mandate that before I become 40, I needed to stop being transactional and started to pursue legacy. And let me put it in this context. So all I'd always done was I was hinged on profit, income, revenue, business. But I started to ask myself, okay, so what if I get all the money I want? Then what would I use the money for? And so that time I had one outstanding man, Bishop David Oyedepo. He said something. He said the entire vision for his ministry was bettered after he went on a 3-day retreat. So I said, okay, you know what, Taiwo, you are not operating at that level. He did this in 3 days, okay? You can do yours for 7 days. So that's how I went on a 7-day retreat. By the 4th day, remember I told you at 38, I'd come in tandem with a scripture about the guy that was at the pool for 38 years. Remember, 38, I decided to, reflect, go on that journey. Coincidentally, part of the scripture I was reading just took me to, on the 4th day, I just came in tandem with that truth of the guy that was at the pool for 38 years. I started to look at the story. I soon realized that there was similarity. At that point, what did I do? I called for a supernatural intervention. All right, calling on the elements to support me. That now, okay, now I need help. Because the guy said I had nobody to help me. Remember what even Dr. Labi said yesterday? That look, are you willing to receive help? Because somehow we have a misconceived view of what help is and where help will come from. Hey, look, guys, I don't know why you're listening to this morning, but I'm telling you something. Your views about where help will come from have been limited. You need to change it. Open your inner eyes. And at that point, I took up my what do you call it? My bed, and I started to walk and I started to run. Remember, I'd been incapacitated somewhat, and I started to go on this legacy journey. By day 5, the vision for Phenomenal African Woman was released onto me. Beyond that, there was also some clarity as to, hey, this is now your journey of, and that's when I started to craft the issues around that I'm a reference. In fact, as of yesterday night, something told me that, Taiwo, you're now moving from a reference. You're now moving from a reference, but I'm just going to leave that. And you guys are the first, I heard that last night. You're moving from being a reference. You can't just be a reference. Kai! You understand what I'm saying? There should be an update now. The way your system is updating, you also should be updating. Do you understand? You should be updating. And this is what reflection in reinvention is all about. You are reinventing now. So before you're a typewriter now, you have now moved into being the butterfly now, from caterpillar to the, you now see that, so you see, I told you that I must even express my own reinvention. I can't be doing this and not also express my own reinvention. So last night in bed, he said, no, Taiwo, it can't just be a reference. It's in my book, Black and White. There wants to be a reference in Africa. I've said it how many times over. But last night, all right, he said, look, you can't just be a reference. Yes, your mandate is still clear around those 3 areas. You are advancing also the kingdom business here on earth, but you can't just be a reference. So what do you need to tweak? It's also from the point of reflection. And what you are greatly, so once you start to practice gratitude, Lord, I thank you for how far you have brought us. Lord, we give you all the praise, and then you come into that understanding. Somehow, there will also be spiritual downloads. So I've just shared one of the spiritual downloads I got yesterday. Taiwo, you can't just be a reference. So maybe for me to experience that tipping point, that's what I needed to hear. Because maybe I'd be operating at a suboptimal level, just trying to be a reference. Just trying to be. And I also realized how petty being a reference is. Liberation, deliverances, unusual. Kai. I hope you're also having the same experience, because look, if you cannot take advantage of this moment that is Kairos as it were, you would have missed the whole essence. So, just like I said, turn things off, disconnect from the world, go on that retreat, okay? And just cultivate the habit, even if it's one day. Just say, look, one day in a quarter, just do something, all right? Stay away from everyone. Just wait. It's about your life now. You take your car, or if or you take the equipment for servicing. Can you just go and service yourself? All right, let's drain the dogs, get your, okay, so let me progress now. So you need to also begin to enable to achieve balance. You need to cut some things off. Remember, we talked about alignment. Cut some things off. You already know some relationships for the cut off. Some waste of time must be cut off. How are you expending your time? Is it positively or negatively? Stop it. What are you attending to? All right, what is your priority? You need to start to trim. Another thing is that you must pay attention to your health. Remember, I told you that before, my understanding of work hard, play hard was not in terms of health. It was that, hey, have all the fun that you can and work hard so well that you make so much money and you can have all the fun that you want to have. Anyway, I moved from that, and then I added one more. So guess what? I was working hard, I was playing hard, then I started to pray harder. But it was still a circle. It was almost like a rat race. It was just transactional. There was no end in mind. There was no focus. There was no purpose. Hey, so every time you come back, you've had all the fun. You've had all the time you wanted to have. You've made some money. But guess what? You are back thinking, what next? You are restless within your spirit. and then my health was suffering at that point also. I used to smoke, I used to drink, cajole girls of easy virtue, move on, but so what happened now? Who was suffering now? It's me now, ultimately. All right. Another thing you must try to do is reduce the toxins. All right. So, and this is a good point now, guys. If you have your water, this is a good point now. This is a good time to grab your water, get your water. Just get your water, infused water with lime, and just it helps you just detox. All right. So cheers, guys. I'm taking mine. Mm. Now, I took my time to just take this because my whole system should respond. Something is just being dropped into my system. So the entire system must respond. Ah, look, these things, things that would take us there are quite simple. If only we just remain consistent, frequent, and intense about them, and then we can truly just have a great life. One of the other things you must nurture will be relationships. You must nurture relationships, healthy relationships. And let me tell you something. I had a conversation with my twin sister yesterday on yesterday's session. And, one of the things that she said that just threw me off balance was the fact that she's experiencing some friction at some point in her life, but she has so complained about it to the extent that she has started to manifest even what Dr. Labu was talking about. And yesterday she said, wow, I've been the guy watering. My team was saying that she has been watering a tree of discord and friction. It's time to cut it off. It's time to cut it off. So what relation, irrespective of the things they give to you, make sure you are giving back good. If you can't give back, stay away, flee, resist, but make sure that you are not in conflict. Make sure you are not harboring any bitterness, because the person that the worst hit in a case of bitterness is the person that is bitter, not the person you are bitter at. All right? Relationships matter. Now, another thing is you must, like I said, treat yourself. So yesterday I also went on a retreat, a mini indulgence. I went on spa, took, just decided to just take care of myself. All right. Just allow myself to just settle in. Take time to explore the world. I've been to 36, is it 36 countries right now across the world? And I'm not stopping now because Africa is 54. So I've not even touched Africa fully, So expand and, just determine that you just want to even see what is happening elsewhere. So, and I said 4 ways people learn: experience, exposure, education, and the environment. All right. So just get yourself, to move, get yourself to move and discover and explore the world. Expand your awareness. So just like the way thinking is, when you think, your brain is like an exercise. That's also how you must practice awareness. All right. After some time, you expand your awareness. And like I said, the it's okay to have fun, but also have guided fun. Okay. So, and I can only tell you that every other thing would begin to settle. Thank you so much for just showing up every day. All right. And it means a lot to me. And for those that stay even, sound like Messi, you don't even know how you touch me just by showing up against all odds. I just pray, for everyone present that you experience a truly radical transformation. And somehow it's like a seed. It will start to, it starts to grow. Some have started to grow. And depending on the kind of tree you've planted or the vision that you're envisioning, it will also determine somehow the gestation period. But bear in mind, just like the Chinese bamboo, it's going to bud. And when it buds, people will just ask, where have you been? Where have you been? Where have you been? Don't live your life like an accident. Be intentional and be deliberate. On this note, I'd like to take you into this new week with grace and with favor, with unusual releases that will usher greatness, that you will get help. Help. The elements will conspire to help you. You will find help, all right? And indeed, you will get illumination as how and where to go. Go for right now and begin to experience peace. Begin to experience balance. Begin to experience unusual grace, all right, and favor for greater exploits. I commit you to the hands of God. I look forward to seeing you later this evening, just for a debrief. And then this week promises to be interesting. The people I have set out to come and just talk to us every evening. You don't even want to miss it. And this I'm telling you, these are not your people that you'll be seeing regularly. These are people that are doing great feats. I'm bringing them out. These are people that are doing great. I'm not talking about people that aspire to perspire to. I'm talking about people that they are doing great, valiant things. All right. So when they are talking, you need to hear, take down notes, and start to see how you can begin to apply those things. Guys, I need to get out of your faces now. Sorry for keeping you longer than normal. Happy Sunday, and see you later this evening.